Good morning, everyone. I am again Sergeant First Class Jake Grawzis, Emergency Manager. Today we'll be going over the hurricane response plan for Fort Johnson. This brief will again be over Teams. Please confirm everyone can see my screen and the appropriate slides. So this brief is for information purposes only. No decision is required. Please hold all questions to the end. Today's agenda, we'll be going over hurricane response, needs of the community, whole community planning preparedness, risk assessment, hazards and threats, key capabilities, budgetary concerns, the Homeland Security exercise evaluation program principles, plan communication, plan maintenance, brief conclusion, we'll hold some questions at the end. Needs of the community. Stay informed, make a kit, have a plan. Now, hurricane season down at Fort Johnson is 1 June to 30 November. Food, water will be covered by APHES. Shelter locations are listed into the plan. Accountability of soldiers and family and rotational units, and communication. Hurricane response plan provides general guidance, organizational structure, and specific direction on preparedness, response, and communication disciplines for severe weather emergencies. It is critical to be prepared for potential events to protect the Fort Johnson family. The plan also provides the basic procedures, resources, and guidance to preparing, planning, and mitigating, responding, and recovering to and from severe weather events. The plan will identify units, directorates, and individuals that are directly responsible and accountable for emergency response and critical support services. It also provides a structure for coordinating and deploying essential resources. The plan will address the life-sustaining preparation, response, and recovery needs of the Fort Johnson community. Whole community planning and preparedness. Conduct hurricane awareness training for unit family readiness groups. Inform displays with pamphlets and related material on hurricane season. Preparedness. So those selected venues would be obviously the PX, Commissary, Ed Center, and 350, the main building. PX, Commissary, and Ed Center, a lot of local families will traffic those. I think everybody shops at the commissary. Everyone goes to the PX to shop and put up these pamphlets. Hopefully everyone picks them up, takes a read through them. Now, we'll issue preparedness kits and NOAA radios. Those will be on a as requested base. Now, issue shelter in place kits to schools and CDCs. North Polk Elementary already has theirs, and all the CDCs are getting theirs. We have about a 2-week turnaround on all those coming in. Now, DPTMS and DES will be available to provide training to FRGs. POC for that is the DPTMS, Mr. Mark Leslie. Now, kits will be ordered and handed out at community centers, PX, and unit level. So again, those FRG meetings will be a huge opportunity. That'd be a shame if we missed it. Start handing out those kits and getting everybody prepared. So risk assessment. Now for the risk assessment, use THERA, the Threat and Hazard Identification and Risk Assessment. It's a 3-step risk assessment process that helps communities understand their risks and what they need to do to address those risks by answering the following questions. What threat and hazards can affect our community? If they occurred, what impacts would those threats and hazards have on our community? Based on those impacts, what capabilities should our community have? Now, the biggest things that could hit us with a hurricane, obviously, is power loss, food and water shortage, debris, injuries, and transportation to medical care. Obviously, Bain-Jones is primary for medical care here. Now, personnel and equipment are susceptible to damage from winds exceeding 35 knots and forecasted increase over 64 knots. Now, they must be protected from the effects of severe weather. Personnel in train areas, especially those rotational units, are likely to encounter dead limbs or trees damaged from previous storms. Now, falling, endangering anyone in the area. Now, JRTC in Fort Johnson, they've identified strategies to protect personnel and equipment from damaging effects and tropical storm and or hurricane. Hazards and threats. So we identify hazards in the plan. We assess the hazard of concern. We give threats and hazards context. We also examine 31 core capabilities of the National Preparedness Goal using threat hazard context. Set capability targets, apply the results. Some of the biggest threats and hazards we come across is decision to evacuate is made too late. In the event that we decide to evacuate, but if it's too late, then we get people trapped in the storm, traffic, chaos. Evacuation should be done controlled and organized. Now, obviously, CG is approval authority for evacuation. Another hazard is winds exceed the maximum sustained winds. Coming up this shortly, we have GRTC rotation 23-10, which is right in the middle of peak season. Now, peak window has shifted and will include September and October this year due to projections of hurricane conditions. Capability target is to sustain life support, restore power, and provide food and water, maintain base security and accountability. Now, base security is big. As we did with Hurricane Laura, we had a lot of damages to the perimeter fence. This isn't active installation. We do have weapons and other items on here that are classified. So key capabilities. Now, that's preparedness, response, recovery, maintenance, supply, and service. Preparedness involves undertaking in advance of emergency or disaster to accurately prepare for and develop capability to respond to emergency. The response phase is the implementation of emergency response operations during an incident. Response activities include alert, notifications, resource and logistical coordination, and public information. The recovery phase involves both short and long-term operations. The objective of the short-term operation is typically to restore vital services. Now, maintenance for generator plant. We all know, everyone remembers Hurricane Laura. We had generators everywhere. With that comes generator mechanics support. It's provided by units and DPW. Supply and services. If we lose power, it is summer, it is hot. We need to make sure we have ice, SSMO, CIF, SSA, fuel. Now, fuel, if we need to ration fuel, AVs is written in to control the rationing of fuel. Because the big thing too is to keep those generators going for those life support areas. I want to be able to keep the PX and the commissary open for food and supplies for families. Now, ASP will provide force protection. In the event that perimeter fence is damaged, it's written in for units who will have to conduct force protection patrols around to keep the base secure. Also with that for supplies, sandbags, cots, wool blankets provided out at shelter locations. Transportation for families if vehicles are disabled to get to shelters. That will include buses and drivers. All units are assigned responsibilities. Budgetary concerns. Now, we took our budgetary concerns from historical costs from storm damage. Barracks and homes are just remodeled. As we know, Fort Johnson is a quality of life base. So we just put a lot of money into remodeling homes, businesses, the bowling alley, biggest one in the DoD now. Then also with that, the cost to evacuate the 1-5 aviation aircraft. Damage to insulation perimeter and airfields, hurricane supplies, and force protection supplies. So cost to evacuate aircraft and bring them back for support efforts that round trip flight to Arkansas is expensive. Then the use of the aircraft during recovery efforts and response efforts. Preparedness kits, shelter kits, cost to rebuild insulation homes and buildings, area prep, i.e. sandbags, and cleanup. Now, Hurricane Laura cost the installation more than $25 million in damages and supplies. As far as the Homeland Security Exercise and Evaluation Program, applying the following principles to the management of exercise program and executing individual exercises is important to an effective evaluation of capabilities. This comes from senior leader guidance. They are informed by risk, capability-based and objective-driven, progressive exercise plan approach, whole community integration, and common methodology. Now, we will be doing a hurricane full-scale exercise, FSC, which is planned for third quarter. It's going to begin before rotation 2309. The idea is to get it done before 2309, so in the event of a hurricane hitting during rotation 2310, the plan's been implemented, tested, and will be margin of error very small, but able to respond and protect rotation 2310 and any RTE that's in the box. Now, we'll conduct an FSC that involves and evaluates the garrison staff, tenant organizations, agencies to train, refine, and synchronize various internal and external plans, and assess the overall capability to operate in all hazard environment with the ultimate goal of return to normal operations. For the situation of it, Fort Johnson continued to develop and refine a training program that will design, develop, conduct, and evaluate crisis response, emergency management, and recovery capabilities in accordance with MCOM directives and National Incident Management System, which accumulates in a full-scale exercise with external observer controllers, which those OCs more likely come from Fort Cavazos. Scenario-based FSCs based on the garrison commander assessment of the probability of garrison experience in a natural or man-made disaster. For this one, obviously, we'll be focused on a hurricane because hurricane season is approaching. Now, op order for that is to follow. 1.0 has been published. The op order will be published here in the next 3 weeks. Now, communicate the plan to residents. Now, this is huge. We have severe weather awareness campaign, National Preparedness Month, unit level briefs, family readiness groups, local radio, TV networks, and TV stations. We have JRTC, Fort Johnson Facebook, Instagram, Digital Garrison app. Digital Garrison app is huge. We cannot mandate everyone download it, but we highly encourage everyone to download it. You can get real-time updates on it for all evac, shelter locations, and any and all recommendations. The GRTC and Fort Johnson website, we have a link on there that goes to DES and DPTMS for that. Everyone can see tips and tricks, checklists, ways to prepare the family for a hurricane, recommended items in those hurricane kits. The Joint Information Center will publish all, and installation marquees, again, will put up that propaganda to try to get the word out to the families on how to be prepared and stay prepared. Plan maintenance. Okay, so hurricane response plan and annexes will be reviewed and updated every 2 years in accordance with emergency management program administrative, unless if unforeseen circumstances arise where we have to readdress them based off CG guidance. Policy taking the following elements into consideration: formal updates of planning guidance or standards, change in elected or appointed officials, after action reports and improvement plans from exercises or actual events. Now again, that one, the after action reports and improvement plans from exercises or actual events, we took a lot from Hurricane Laura. Hurricane Laura hit a bit harder than we expected, but we learned a lot from it. We grew as a team, we grew as a family. Now, ultimately, we're going to be more set up for success for future actions. Now, enact new or amended laws or executive orders. So with that, we have to stay updated on FEMA and DHS protocols and change in demographic or hazard profiles. Now, with the changes in demographic or hazard profiles, 10th Mountain is set to deploy next year. As we know, 3rd Brigade 10th Mountain is one of our largest operational units on Fort Johnson. In the event that we lose them, our ability to respond to a hurricane will be greatly diminished. There's a plan for that. That's going to be a Title 10 clause we look into, more incorporating Louisiana National Guard that's in the area. But again, that is something that we're refining for next year. This year, for this year's plan, 10th Mountain is still here. They are not set to deploy. They will be here throughout this season, especially for the implementation of this plan when and if we need to. Now, conclusion with everybody is make a plan. That includes units, that includes families. Stay informed. Again, Digital Garrison app, Fort Johnson website, FEMA, Red Cross. Everyone should stay up to date on everything. Rehearse your plan. For that, units, rehearse your part of the plan. Down to individual families. Hey, hurricane's coming. How are we going to get our family together? Where's our hurricane kit? Where are we going to go? Where's our primary? Where's our alternate? Where's a contingency? Where's an emergency? Make sure everyone has that PACE plan identified. Commanders, you and your subordinate leaders, make sure you know your unit's part of the plan. Have alternate contingency backups. Make a kit. Inform families. Have a way to contact soldiers. Biggest thing is accountability of all soldiers and all families during this time. References for this is AR 525-27, which is Army Emergency Management Program, and Federal Emergency Management Administration. Homeland Security Exercise Evaluation Program. At this time, do you have any questions? Alrighty. Again, everybody, I am Sergeant First Class Jake Grawzis. This brief is unclassified. No decision is required at this time. Thank you all for attending.